You know, at the end of the day, we as actors have the best job on the planet. You know, we get to go to work every day and do something that's not monotonous. We get to do something different every single day. And we get celebrated for it, which is crazy, you know. But I love what I do, and I love the opportunity to be able, since I was 7 years old, to say, I love this, and then make a living doing it. Like being able, like growing up, having the ability to study it, learn it, perfect my craft, and then being able to make a living out of it. Like when I was a kid, I remember Wynton Marsalis was like my idol, one of the greatest trumpet players of all time, jazz at Lincoln Center, the best, New Orleans finest. But Wynton Marsalis was a New Orleans musician, came to New York, learned jazz, went to Juilliard, learned the craft of music, the history of music. And then once he came out and introduced the world to New Orleans music, nobody could tell him nothing because he had done everything before that. Like one of the greatest recordings of all time. When I was in high school, I heard him record the Carnival de Venice. And it's written for 2 trumpets with an entire orchestra behind him. And he plays both parts. Both parts with a whole orchestra behind him. It's like, so how do you tell that dude what he can and can't do? How do you tell that dude what his limitations are? You know, so when I saw that, I was like, that's what I want to do. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be the dude that's invited to parties. I want to learn the craft so I can talk about it. I can do Ibsen. I can do Chekhov. I can do Shakespeare. I can do Tupac. I can do Martin Luther King. I can do all that. And you can't tell me what I can and can't do. You know what I mean? So when I got the opportunity to go to Juilliard, it wasn't like, oh, I'm at Juilliard, I'm better than you. It was like, no, I'm at Juilliard. This is completely different than what I'm used to. So how can I make this difference my reality? How can I make this difference the norm? So you can't say, oh, he can only play gangsters, or oh, he can only play like stuffy, like square black dudes, or oh, you can't take that role that's written for a white dude and put him in it because he can't do it. Because all he can do is talk like this, you know what I'm saying? No. I got that. And you give me a dialect, I actually study phonetics so I can do that. You know what I mean? Like, you want to do some British? Let's do some British. I can phonetically write that out and do that. You know, like the project I'm doing right now, I'm speaking Japanese. So when I show up on set, I really like the opportunity of doing something different and finding ways and things that excite me. Because if I'm not excited about it, it's like, there's only so many times you can walk on set and be like, it's cold outside. Thank you, thanks. You know what I mean? It's just, it gets boring after a while, but I love what I do. But we're in a position now in society, in this country, where no one wants to listen. The smartest person in a conversation is the person who listens. So when you talk about black or white, when you talk about race, when you talk about sexism, when you talk about homophobia, I think the most interesting perspective is to sit back and just let that person talk. Because there's nothing I can add to that perspective. It's frustrating to me that people take race and they make it personal. We're at a loss in this generation. If you look at it in the 80s, Archie Bunker was a stark racist. Fred Sanford, stark racist. But you know what black people and white people did? They laughed. And right now, we are in a society where we can't have a conversation because no one's willing to listen. So if you come to me and you're yelling, oh, I hate black people because of A, B, C, and D, then you're ignorant. You're a fool. I can't talk to you. But if you come to me and say, look, you're a black dude, I feel like I can talk to you, so I don't understand A, B, C, and D. And we have those conversations. No one wants to talk about perception when it comes to racial profiling. No one wants to talk about stereotypes when it comes to racial profiling. This is what I know. I'm a certified scuba diver. They told me this: when you're in shark-infested waters, everything in that water is considered a threat until proven otherwise. If it's a guppy, it could be a shark. Until you know. And I think as black men, we need to realize we're in shark-infested waters. And if we don't sit our young men down and we don't talk to them about perception, and we don't talk to them about stereotypes, we're doing them a huge disservice. Because if the police pull me over, prime example, I got pulled over by the police, come over to my window, flash his light in my face, hand on my pistol. I can handle that 2 ways. I can start yelling and screaming and tell him he a racist and he don't know me, you doing this wrong. Or I can say, yes, officer. No, officer, or we done, officer. And both of them are gonna have drastically different outcomes. What happens with young black men everything is susceptible to the question of your manhood. And what's going on in these streets ain't got nothing to do with my manhood. If I'm gonna fight a police, I'm gonna fight him in a controlled environment, a court of law. I'm not gonna fight him on the streets. As a black man, your job is to make sure your truth is heard. That's it. So if the police wanna wild out, I promise you, if you sit back, yes, officer, no, officer, if I'm wrong, arrest me, officer. Are you talking back? No, sir, officer. Why are you being aggressive? This is not aggression, officer. If it escalates past that, there's nothing you could have done anyway. All cops aren't bad cops. 99% of cops are really good dudes and women. That 1%, that's the problem. And you want to give yourself every opportunity not to end up a statistic. And not saying you're doing anything wrong, not saying the cops are wrong, not saying you're wrong, but you have to realize the position that you're in. And you have to do everything to make sure you make it home at night. That's what my daddy taught me. Certain people want you to justify what they view you to be, and you can't give them that right.